Welcome, everyone, to the special edition Forged Men's podcast. Today, we're talking about a subject that affects almost every man watching: money, opportunity, purpose, freedom. I'd like to ask yourself this question: if your paycheck disappeared tomorrow, what happens next? Most men have one employer, one income source, and one plan. That's not security, that is dependency. Today's goal isn't to sell you a dream, it's to help you build options. It's the biggest lie men were told. Let's talk about growing up, hearing get a good job and you'll be safe. What does that mean to us? What does the school system teach us, Mark and Nick? What is a system that we're put in and the false belief that we are made to believe as real?
Well, I love this topic. I'm so excited for this special episode we're doing. The school system teaches us to obey boundaries and rules, and it really doesn't give us a whole lot practical things to do. Yes, where does the comma go in a sentence? I've had some decent paychecks in my life, and none of them have said good grammar. None of them had a little note on it. It was about hitting an objective or doing something that we hadn't done before. It wasn't about being able to put a sentence together. I've never used logarithms. I've never used algebra. There's like half of a percent of people actually end up using that crap. So school system is not designed to help us survive. It's designed to make us obey. And men weren't designed to obey. We started out fighting dinosaurs, right? That's not obeying. You know, any man to go out and we don't see dinosaurs anymore, but I know men that go out and hunt bears, right? A bear can change where you are on the food chain. If you're willing to go hunt a bear, you damn sure shouldn't rely on punching a time clock somewhere on Monday morning. All right, I'm preaching, and that's nobody's passing an offering. Nick, what you got on that?
I am just as excited about this topic today, Mark. And through much practice and prayer, I feel like I'm very prepared for this, and especially this particular subject. You know, I was born into a system, and I'm very blessed for that opportunity to be born into the system because my system was rooted in a company called Pat Ryan and Associates. And the system that I'm referring to is the white shirt and tie
Oh
choir
yeah.
boy system of Pat Ryan and Associates Income Development. And my first memory in life was going to my dad's Nissan dealership that he is the variable ops director of the group, quite frankly, but this was kind of his home store. And it was Christmas Eve, and I just remember my dad telling me, "You're going to be the head of my income development company," because we were there on Christmas Eve. My dad was not enjoying himself. He wasn't enjoying being the general manager anymore. So he wanted to take mom's advice and start an income development company. Oddly, I didn't know that I was being placed in a system. And as I was 8 years old, I was told more and more. I woke up to my dad putting a billboard on my dresser drawer that said Nicholas Leasing as he started an income development for company for leasing. And I had my life figured out. I knew what I was going to do. I went to company picnics in the summer and told nice old ladies that I was going to run the company. So I didn't need to eat your food that you brought. And I told people that my dad was the boss. So I didn't need to go off and do the same slide as your own family is doing and hang out with you. And I made those mistakes as a little kid. And I came off as, kind of like a little rooted prick. But something happened when I was 9 years old that changed everything. And my dad left my mom for the business manager at the office that my mom hired. And that was the day that the silver spoon was removed from my mouth. And that's when the system changed for me. And that's when the system confused me because I was in school, I was doing my thing, I was doing everything that a good kid does. And then I watched what just happened. And nobody said a thing for the most part,
Right.
except for the people lowest on the totem pole. And that's kind of where my life started out. And I'm very grateful for that. A lot of the time, I did janitorial work at my parents' office, and it taught me what it was in that particular time that everybody else is going through in life. And then, before we got into this conversation, Mark, we talked about bringing an additional income stream and how that can change a family's life and how a pay plan can change a family's life. and how somebody doing things the right way can change a family's life. And I got to see that firsthand. And I got to see people get appreciated. And I got to see those opportunities. So for me to be sitting here talking about entrepreneurship and getting out of this maintenance or the matrix or the system, I feel like it's really cool because there's so many people that are the Billy Madison out there, like the Adam Sandler movie, where you're trapped in the parent's company, but you don't know if you're supposed to be a teacher or if you're supposed to go after your power washing company. And this gives us that platform to talk about. So all to you, gentlemen, for bringing it to the forefront. Love it.
That's some high quality H2O. Different movie, but same actor. And I'm the latest adopter on this panel of this, but a lot has been brought to my eyes. So, Nick, you talk about the silver spoon being pulled out. So obviously your situation is a little bit unique to you, but can happen to others. But again, you're told get the good job and you'll be safe. So what about, layoffs, downsizing, AI, which is prevalent, automation, economic uncertainty. So this kind of hit me, and we talk about books as well. So at this point, I'll kind of introduce the one that we're all thinking about, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, a book that was introduced to me early in life. Wish I would have read it early in life.
Look, it's not
I
too late.
didn't.
Read it.
But great book, and it gets you kind of out of the system. But I've got a she was 9, she just turned 10-year-old daughter, and we were together. I told you about this, Mark, what, about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and she had a
thereabouts.
project in school, so she was given $1 million and had to spend it. But there was a hierarchy as far as an order of where she had to spend it. So the first was a house, so effectively it's how much you spend on a house. The next was a car. The next was, I forgot if it was education or what. But I was like, why not buy something that's going to give you a return? Why not buy a business? Why not buy into something that's going to give you some kind of return? It's like, well, you can't do that. So it is the matrix. It is the system. It is the trap that's being that funnel of you can't even buy into a business. Now you can put money into education, which you could translate into income possibly, but you had to spend money in a house, then a car, and education was third on that list, and it had to be in that order, and it had to be done that way. And it was an eye opener to me. And I text Mark, and again, I'm the latest adopter, but I was like, thank you for being in my head, but that's all I see now, which is kind of a good thing. So again, there are layoffs, there are economic uncertainty, there are, I come from sales, I've done mortgage. Mortgage is one of the biggest hiring and layoff industries that I know of. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. There's some big banks here, and I won't mention any names, but one of them has had major hirings and major layoffs in mortgage more times than I can count. And how do you count on that? And yeah, you could suck up some money in the good times, but in the bad times, there's no income, and it's you and hundreds or thousands of other people with the same skill set looking for something. So transitioning into the multiple streams of income, you have primary career, perhaps skill-based income, scalable income, investment income, but let's discuss how wealthy people rarely rely on one income source, why there are multiple streams.
Well, you have to have multiple streams. I mean, that's just, it should be a rule. It should be something we teach you in the first grade. If you only have one source of income, you're one paycheck away. Maybe if you're smart and you've followed Dave Ramsey and you got 6 months worth of emergency funds saved up, you're okay for 6 months. But I know guys and gals right now, they've been looking for a job for a year and a half or 2 years. So the 6 months is just a false sense of security. But if you have a second income stream or even a third or a fourth, you have that security. And if something happens in your job, you get laid off or fired, or you just don't want to do it no more, you have extra time to build those into your actual career. So, I mean, that's just a rule. It's got to be a rule in every household, every man's journey that I have a second source of income, even if it's only $1,000 a month. I mean, the average person in America makes $60,000 or less. So an extra $2,000 a month makes a big difference. If you put all that back in 2 years, you got enough to live a year on, or you can change your lifestyle, or you can expand that even more. You can invest it in your retirement or your future or in a duplex so you have some rental income. There's just literally thousands of things you can do. And it can be something you enjoy doing. I mean, it can be pressure washing, it can be painting, it can be mowing yards, it can be going to garage sales. Get out there and look, go to YouTube and just search for stuff. I mean, there's so much, we're in the information age, right? There's nothing you can't figure out how to do. I mean, my wife, God love her, I mean, she's the mom, the matriarch of our family, and she's maybe worked 3 weeks in her life outside of the home, right? And she used to call me when the toilet didn't work, right? And when I was younger, I'd fix it. Now I don't do anything I can pay somebody else to do. But today she just YouTubes it and fixes the damn toilet herself, changes the float thing. She's so proud. It's great. The information is there. If you want to start, if you want to buy a laundromat, you want to buy an apartment building, all that information is there. There's people like Gary Vaynerchuk and all these people that can help you get out and do it. You want to be an influencer? Be an influencer. You may be a small influencer, and you may be a big one. But you don't know till you try. Get out there and do something. Damn it! I mean, just something you enjoy. Start with something you love doing, and it will spring out. You'll have other ideas. Sit down and just spend some time with yourself and say, what would I like doing that'll make me an extra $100? And then do it 10 times and you got $1,000. Do it 20 times, you got $2,000. I did learn that in school, so I learned a little bit of math.
Nick, he's a bit passionate. I'm going to let you follow that one.
All right. Well, layoffs and uncertainty, I certainly know something about, and I'm not blind to why some of them happen. However, God prepares a table before your enemies. And today we have a YouTube station. So, hello. Now, when it comes to layoffs and uncertainty, I have learned through experience, the moment that you get laid off, you want to reshape your mind and redirect your mind. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Go to Northern Illinois Food Bank or a food bank near you and serve somebody. It will immediately make you feel better. So, and it will immediately make you think about the decision that you just made about who you worked for. I think that it's very important that no names be named, no maybe side gigs that I want to get taken care of. That's not the point of this. However, motivation for entrepreneurship is very important. Once I get get it down how to say it, I'll let everybody know. We'll have an episode about that. So it was like me and the Battle of Albuquerque, but I finally got it one day. So, what I know is that my entrepreneurial journey started at a very young age. It started at a conversation with my father in 2008. And it was essentially that the no world felt bad for me that I was an orphan for 18 years. And I really gained a lot from that conversation because I love my father. I love my mother. And I watched that brilliance and innovation in the living room, and people come in from all over the world and sharing that. And that's from God. It was such a special time to watch those two work. And when I watched them, I also had the opportunity of being where you have the Major League Baseball All-Star game coming up very soon. And you're going to watch the Home Run Derby. I am, because Miguel Vargas is going to be in it, and possibly 2 White Sox this year. So super cool. But on top of that, I really enjoy watching the father-son relationships at the All-Star game. I like watching the little kids in the uniforms running up to their dads. Their dads are Miguel Cabrera and Frank Thomas. And that was my life growing up. I grew up around all of them, and I had a father who was cool enough to tell me, you got to appreciate the talent that you're around right now and learn from everything that they say. And I did. And more importantly, after my dad kind of gave me that speech that one day, I started to learn from everybody's mistakes, because I want to be a first round draft pick quarterback, and I don't want to make the same mistake twice. And I really took that into everywhere I worked after my family's company sold in 2017. I wanted to be the best employee that I could be. At one place or two, the roofing job and finance manager, I went in knowing I wasn't the best at that job. I knew what was going to happen. However, when I went to the finance income development companies, all of them, especially the last two, I'll never forget when my dad sold his companies and there was a completion, and we talked about the head of the company now, the main head, meaning the people in charge now. And I said, how do you think that's going to work, Dad? And he looked at me and he said something relevant to the New York Knicks just won the NBA Finals. At this particular time, Isaiah Thomas was in charge of the New York Knicks. Stephon Marbury was the point guard, and they traded for Steve Francis. And my dad went, I think I know how that's going to end up. It's not going to go well. And it's confusing to me because the people at the bottom of the roster can fill out the talent for a playoff roster. But you got some guy who's going to be good in China in 3 years. That wasn't the goal. And another guy who got lost in his career, and the general manager nearly ended up in jail. So that was unique from the top. But when I was essentially let go from there, I had to look at my decision making and go, did I line up with a job that had my beliefs, or did I line up with something that was convenient for me at the time that got the bills paid? And am I willing to make a risk to go somewhere else like the people at the head of this company did in one way or another? And I wasn't ready to do that. So I was dealing with my own cowardness. And I wasn't looking at simple remedies to maybe make another $1,000 or $2. And then once I got to the next job, it's the best job I've ever had in my life. I loved everything. And man, it was really cool. They treat their employees really well, and people who work there are really blessed. However, my direct manager was a lot like that pitching coach from that movie, Rookie of the Year, that we all come to love here in Chicago. He got himself locked in the cage in the dugout a lot. And I, I I don't really know why they're there. And but that person, that individual letting me go so close to Thanksgiving and Christmas motivated me at that moment to go, I don't care that I'm not prepared. I don't care that I don't have everything perfect in my life. God's going to give me a way, and I'm going to start making extra income for this money to not only fix this problem right now, but the generational problem that's going on in this business. When it comes to income development, this used to be a special place where talent was recognized and talent was given the opportunity to flourish. And like we talked about earlier, Mark, those scripts, they're very important, but you have to have creativity, and that's from God. And the people who have creativity to put those scripts together are the ones that should be dealing with the dealer, not a bunch of people who aren't empowered enough to make decisions. So by their own company. So I recognized the need in something that I was passionate about. I love income development enough to go down dying, swinging for income development. And I knew that that's what would force me forward. And that really built the framework for giving me multiple opportunities. I got to learn from somebody who handled multiple businesses at one time. And that is a gift. And what I'm telling all of you out there is that if the most non-intelligent person I know at times, being my father, and also the most intelligent person I've ever met at times, can balance act 11 companies at one time nationwide, you can do it too.
100%. Yeah. And to that point, I mean, you are going to go down swinging with the income development, but you said it afforded you other opportunities. So you've got your hand in the trucking gig right now, and you've got the other opportunities. So you're not, even though you're lock, stock, and barrel there, you're not pigeonholing yourself to one opportunity. So you have other opportunities available
In the
around.
interest of time, I wanted to not be so loquacious in my responses, but yes, what I have learned is that I got to sit in this living room with my parents and watch government contractors come in, truck dealers come in, aviation dealers come in. And dad didn't want to do anything outside of the auto industry. But that didn't mean that I didn't sit in geometry in high school and dream about reinsurance positions for long haul trucking fleets. That's what I did. And, that led me to take a lot of different jobs to prove myself. Because one thing that I know about franchise car dealers like Mark, with all due respect to Mark, didn't put me on this show because I'm a trust fund baby picking up the phone calling my dad for something every other day. Mark is a franchise car dealer, and I know that franchise car dealers can identify people who built it themselves because I watched it. And I watched them flock to my mom and dad because we ate a lot of pancakes, a lot of cheap bacon, and worried about the bills a lot coming up. I'll never forget my family. We used to go to Spoons because it was a special thing. This was this restaurant in Orange County that had just opened. They had the fajitas on the weekends. It was the late 80s, and my parents had the perms, and they were so cool. But we would sit at Spoons when we could with our coupon or whatever Friday deal was always a deal. And we would talk about the mansion community called Nellygale across from Spoons. And we would go, man, nobody could, how did somebody even afford to live there? We were in those homes, paid cash a year and a half later, and we almost bought Spoons. It's like, you know, I've watched it and it's such an advantage. So, and look, these weren't the brightest, smartest people in the world. They're just two people on a mission. It was awesome.
Did you've seen it? So, did you say your parents had perms, as in like both of them?
Yeah, I'm suspicious about my dad about at one point. There's
I,
not many
I was,
pictures from that time. It's a lot like when the Angels were bought from Disney. They have abandoned that period of time.
it
So,
happened. Cool. So let's kind of bring it back to the multiple streams. So some real side hustles. So we talked earlier about finding something that you enjoy and having it blow up, but it's not going to be easy, right? It's not going out and buying that lottery ticket. It's not going and putting the $10 into the machine, spitting a ticket out and getting 20 back. It's about putting in some effort and some grit. So some of the side hustles that you can start with probably less than 500 bucks. I'll throw a few out. So pressure washing. You can buy a pressure washer and go door to door. I know that I've said yes to a guy pressure washing the side. I had some mold growth in the side of a siding of a house. Came door to door and said yes. So you can do a pressure washing business. Mobile detailing. One of the things that Mark threw out, mobile detailing is huge. I don't wash my car. I used to, but I don't. I pay somebody to detail it, and that is an opportunity. So somebody that has a mobile detailing opportunity, they come to me. It's easy. So that's an opportunity. Lawn care. How many lawn care trucks do you see around? How many people do you think actually mow their own lawn? Huge opportunity with lawn care. Now maybe more than 500 bucks investment there with tractors, etc. But it's exercise. It gets you out. It gets you some vitamin D while you're out doing some work. Get some sun, some handyman work. Are you handy? Can you fix things? As Mark said, I didn't know how to fix a toilet, and I'll put myself in Missy's shoes. I didn't know how to fix anything, but it's YouTube. I've actually replaced valves. I had a leaky valve coming out of the faucet and not the faucet, but the wall into my connection for my toilet. I went and got a little cutty thing from Lowe's and cut it and got a little valve replacement thing and have no idea what I did. Couldn't do it again without watching the video, but I watched the video and I did it. I replaced the leaky valve and put a thing on the tube and did it, and it worked just fine for years. This was years ago, at the inception of YouTube. So there's all kind of things you can do. Transit that no handyman service, AI services. AI is the next thing, right? It's all the buzz. Statistics show that 90% of businesses want it, 10% have it. AI is open forum, so anybody can do it. There's no barrier to entry. Go and figure it out, learn the coding, and you can do AI. AI can be an assistant for you. Affiliate marketing, any number of things, and maybe Mark can talk more about affiliate marketing because I know you have some knowledge with that. But find a company that allows you to rep their product, go and rep it and get a percentage off of what they do. Those are a few that I'll throw out. So, Mark, I mentioned the affiliate marketing. I don't know if you want to touch on that or add any other to the
Yeah.
short list of just ideas to jump into it.
100%. I mean, there's tons of sites you can go to and find affiliate marketing products. Digital products are the best because they're download easy and instant. Then you have to figure out how to market them, right? Your social media feed's the best place. But start with your favorite products. I mean, I use Baja Gold salt. If you will scroll to the bottom of Baja Gold's website, they will give you for free an affiliate link, and you can just share it with your friends and family member. Hey, I like this salt. I've been using it for a year and a half. It'll change your life because the salt that they've been telling us not to eat is the stuff you buy in the little jar that's iodized salt. That's not good for you, but pure real salt is good for you. The first thing they do if you have a heart attack is give you a bag of salt through an IV, right? If you have a stroke, they give you a bag of salt through an IV, right? But it's real salt. That's why it's good for you. So whatever you like or whatever your favorite products are, go to their websites. If they don't have a thing that says affiliate at the bottom, send them go fill out the comment thing and say, do you have an affiliate program? And they'll ask you where you're going to promote it and how you're going to do it because they care about their brand. But affiliate marketing is huge, and there's $0 cost to get started. You can share on Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. TikTok's the number one person-to-person sales app. There are tons of products that you can sell on TikTok that you don't even have to ship. They'll drop ship them for you. It's free to pick up your phone and go live on TikTok and say, "Hey, dummy, buy this. I love it. It's great. It's free." My wife buys stuff for our grandson on there, cute little toys and stuff. Actually, they seem pretty reasonably priced to me, most of them. But there's just unlimited number of things you can do. You start building that brand and Facebook advertising, Facebook Marketplace. If you want to be the handyman, you can advertise for free on Facebook Marketplace. You can sell things on Facebook Marketplace. Um, so, I mean, you want to talk about affiliate marketing. I think that's it. And it's the easiest barrier of entry. And on Facebook, you can spend $10 on ads, and Facebook really lets you narrow down who you want to show that ad to, right? So, you don't, somebody who drives a Subaru, don't advertise Corvette stuff to them. Don't advertise Porsche stuff to them, right? So you check the box, exclude Subaru drivers, right? So it's just amazing. You just need to explore it. Find something you really like and sell the snot out of it.
Cool. Nick?
I have the pleasure and honor and privilege of being involved in prison ministry. And something that goes really well for people when they get out and they don't want to do a background check or have a boss. They go across the street to Walgreens with their little or their card that they're given with money on it. And it's right next to a basketball court in the middle of summer. We have big heat wave here in Chicago. Get some ice, get some water, start selling those bottles for $3 a pop. Before they know it, you can get in a hotel right next to the basketball court. They're just selling water for the first couple of weeks. Then you turn it into a hot dog stand. And I can't tell you how many prisoners have done this and done it successfully. And it's really cool to watch and see. Mark made an extremely good point. And you need to invest in yourself. You are the brand. As soon as you are let out of any situation that you are in, you are your own brand. I don't only do YouTube videos to tout my own ego. It's because I've had people, I don't necessarily like going around Albuquerque, New Mexico with bricks that say keyless entry on them and handing them to car dealers for a security system meeting that I would like to have in the future. But it makes me stand out. And it makes people think because now I got a big brick on my desk. So I really like the outside of the box thinking. I really believe that anybody that's looking for anything right now, there's a dude named Nick Martinelli that does roof sales. He'll give you the opportunity to sell roofs in your house when you're done with work at any time. And these are really cool things that not everybody's thinking about, but after a scrolling on YouTube of things I can do for outside income, you can realize just as quickly as for a normal guy like me. So I would certainly encourage those of you who are fed up with being told what to do to maybe go pick up a 24-pack of water and some ice and find a basketball court.
You're both 100% right. And I'll tell you, back in school, and it was eventually frowned upon, but back when in school, and I just turned 46, back in school, my backpack had gum and Jolly Ranchers in it. And I forgot if it was a nickel or a dime or a quarter a piece, but I was peddling gum and Jolly Ranchers. Now, after a while, I guess the school didn't like it, so of course I conformed and abided by the rules and stopped. But I was pulling in some decent cash. I mean, for a kid selling Jolly Ranchers and gums, that's just like that water. It's that whole, you have that, what's your value? So a bottle of water in a gas station is what, $2 now? It used to be 80 cents or whatever, but it's $2. But if you go to a hot basketball court, it might be $3 or $4. If you go to a sporting event, it's $9 or $10. It's
Yep.
what's your value. It's taking that and it's remarketing it. And I think it was even a case study, or not a case study, but a viral video at a company that just gave away water. All it was they were selling advertising. They put the advertising on the bottle, and they were literally just giving away water for free. And everybody thought, like, what are you doing? There's no way you're giving water away for free. And they ended up making millions and millions of bucks or something. I don't remember the exact story, but all it does is finding that niche or the niche, if you will, and taking initiative and doing it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, but it ain't going to happen if you don't do it. So let's go for some audience engagement for those that are listening and just ask a few questions for self-reflection, and we'll get back into our soapboxes. Um, so it kind of ask yourself, how many income streams do you have? Is it one? Is it multiple? If it is multiple, are you pulling into 500 bucks, 1,000 a month? What's the extra on the income stream? And if you don't have a second, what's stopping you from starting? What is that true barrier to entry? And go deep on this. Is it time? Is it inclination? Is it fear? What is stopping you from starting? And then what skills do you possess that someone would pay for? So if it's not a sales skill, going out and buying that water and reselling it, like Nick mentioned, what skills do you possess that someone can pay for? Can you fix a toilet? Can you hang up a light pendant, or a pendant light? What skills do you possess? So those three questions, once again, without my narrative skills. How many income streams do you have? What's stopping you from starting? And what skills do you possess that someone would pay for? So those are the self-reflection questions. And so transitioning in, why men never start. So, one of the things I asked was fear of failure. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, waiting for perfect timing, comparing yourself to experts. Why should those be barriers to entry? The answer is they shouldn't. But why
100%.
why do most men or a lot of men treat those as barriers to entry? Why is fear of failure, fear of judgment? Why should that stop you from getting off your couch and trying to go add that second stream of income or third stream of income?
Well, you answered it. It shouldn't, but we mentally, it's safety. Our brain is trying to protect us. That's where those negative thoughts come from. It's trying to protect us from disappointment, from failure. We, especially as men, we treat failure as, like it's the end of the earth. Failed at something, but failure is just an opportunity to try again with a little bit more education, right? About how it doesn't work. Is it Edison did the light bulb? And if you really read about Edison, he was afraid of the dark. That was his driving force behind inventing the light bulb. And I think he said it took him 1,000 times tries to figure it out. And he didn't figure out one way to make a light bulb. He figured out 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, right? I know it's clichéic. You mentioned time. Time is an excuse that we use a lot of time, but I saw a thing Elon Musk post here a week or so ago about time. There's 168 hours in a week. If you say you work 60 hours, let's say you're a hard charger and you work 60 hours a week, and let's say you sleep 7 hours a day, 7 sevens is what, 49? What else do we need to take off of there? Time with the family. You're going to spend 2 hours a day with the family. That's 14. And I think that would be big for a lot of men. If you spent 2 hours dedicated with your significant other, spouse, fiance, friends, family, that would be huge, right? How much time are you going to spend eating and grooming? An hour a day, 2 hours a day? Let's say 2 hours a day, right? And take another 14 off. I still got 31 hours left, right? I've worked one full-time and a part-time job. I've spent 2 hours a day with my family. I've spent 2 hours a day eating and taking care of myself. All that stuff. I've spent 7 hours a day sleeping, and I still got 31 hours left. What are you doing with that time? Don't tell me you don't have time. Elon Musk has got time to run a car company, try to figure out how to go to Mars. Whether space exists or not, that's another episode. But they're all and getting into politics too. Now, I'm not as smart as that guy is, but I got the same amount of hours in my day and week that he does.
Very true. So I was looking up one of the things I'm looking up here. So the fear of failure, and I've heard statistics, but what I'm seeing here is the average millionaire in America has filed bankruptcy twice. Now, I don't know how accurate that is. I'm not going to cite a source. It's a source just something I Googled, but it says the average millionaire has failed twice. So one of the things that when we kind of have our go-tos. So I'd say you see the guy with the Ferrari or the Lamborghini or whatever the case is. You see that, but you don't see the grind and the grit that person put into building that business to get to that point. You don't see the sleepless nights. You don't see the missed payroll. You don't see the missed events with his kids as far as sporting events that he put into that business to get to that point. So I wanted to stat, and again, I don't know if it is truly the average millionaire has filed bankruptcy twice, but when you swing big, and I think that's how we did the Frank Thomas thing originally, Nick. When you swing big, you're either going to hit the ball big or you're going to miss big. And if you don't swing big, you're not going to hit big. You're not going to miss big. But what's that fear of failure? What's that risk reward? You're going to have one strike against you. Cool. You have three strikes before you're out. But you connect that ball once and you pop it out. That's a home run. No more. You walk the bases and that's it. So that risk reward, why not swing for the fences? Why not get off? Why not push that? And the heck with failure, the heck with judgment. That's where you're supposed to be able to look in the mirror, be solid in who you're looking at, and know that you are the best person. You're trying for yourself. And if you have naysayers out there, cool. Well, when you are driving the Ferrari and they're still in their whatever because you took those shots or whatever your measure of success is, maybe it's not the car, but because maybe it's the fact that you are at every single sporting event of your kids because you can afford that now and you have people to take care of it for you. And whatever your measure of success is, when you're at that measure of success and that person is still in their 9 to 5, struggling to make ends meet, whatever the case is, then you look back and again, you don't have to gloat, but where's that fear of failure then? Where's that success piece? You took that shot, you finally hit one. It might have been your second or third opportunity, but you hit it, and it's all the difference in the world. So, Nick, any input on why men never saw it as far as failure, judgment, things like that?
Something shifted in me in 2012. There's this show called Breaking Bad, which I think is fitting for that episode of my life. And in this particular episode of Breaking Bad, Walter White looks at his wife and says, I don't have anything to fear because I'm the person at the door with the people who need to be afraid of me. And when they're afraid of me and I'm at the door, I'm the one who knocks, not the other way around. That's exactly how I feel about my competition. I feel like they need to fear me because I've gone through an awful lot and I didn't need to. These people had won. And they gave me so much more extra motivation. And not only that, but self-reflection on what I was terrible at. And what I've realized as a business owner is it's okay to tell other people that I'm not very good at analytics and putting together a spreadsheet. What I'm very good at is telling you I grew up around two not very bright people. Okay, a lot like the bull and the T-bone and not wanting to stick your head up the bull's thing. Okay, like I just
Yes.
seen it work a lot. And those people weren't the brightest, and they made dealers about $1 billion, probably more than that. So I've been around it. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not. And I know that pretending to be really good at something I'm not good at only gets people around you that are lying or yes people. And I don't need that. I need people telling me the truth. That took a lot of self-reflection. But look, when you're being bossed around by powerful people in white suits and ties, not very nice, by the way, a lot of the time. Some of the time they were really nice. And thank you, Markwood. But at the same time, I would really, really like to emphasize that as those people are yelling at me in parking lots in front of other people, thinking that they're like powerful or something, I'm thinking, why didn't you just start your own thing? Because you came here with a $25,000 salary and no problems. What? So I started looking at that and going, if these guys don't have the balls to start their own thing, how could I ever start my own thing? And that was the wrong thinking. These people are yelling at you because they know that you're capable of starting your own thing. You have creativity and they want to stop you. So for anybody who's in that situation, reverse the thinking. Be a boxer. Everybody gets knocked down. I had the pleasure of going to rehab in front of my hometown. And all it got me was more respect for my hometown because I addressed my issue and I fixed it. So, there's nothing to fear in this life. And that's one of the positives of addiction. Once you come out of it, it teaches you there's nothing to fear in this life. And God's got a plan for you because he still woke you up. So use all of your disadvantages to your advantage because I was an employee thinking working for my family would get me all the advantages and it wasn't helping me. And I needed to recognize that. But before you can go around like me saying, I'm the LeBron James of automotive income development, like I'm the chosen one at 25 years old, first of all, there's no self-awareness there. Your competition and the people who want your job are listening to that and getting real ticked off. So you do yourself a real big favor to just be quiet. And, I've got a lot of enemies out there right now, believe it or not, going, I wish I would have just been quiet when it came to that guy. Because now I got to go back and tell a bunch of really important people that either I was talking about the wrong Nick Alderson, I know who you are, and boy, that guy's really, really intelligent. Like, yeah, I knew that. It was never the talent. It was never that. It was him growing up. And you know what? That one they were right about. So really identifying your weaknesses, very important, but also getting over that fear. Look, my beautiful, wonderful fiance, who I love very much, took me to a church, like go get him business sort of meeting thing. I didn't really like it. I think Tim Tebow was there, but one of these people came up and made a really good point. And he said, both me and my wife are teachers, and we're the best teachers I know. And I had to think that out of 7 billion people in the world, 50 different people would go, these are really great teachers, and I want to buy what they're selling. And he said, that journey started for me, and then I figured it out along the way. Now he's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's a multi-billion-dollar business, and it came from nothing. But what people don't tell you about entrepreneurship and second incomes, when you go out and buy that power washer, you might not be able to buy the UFC fight for your group of friends, and people might not show up because you're making other priorities in your life. As an entrepreneur, I've lost my immediate family completely. I was told since I was 8 years old, you start your own thing, we aren't going to have anything to do with you. So I lost my immediate family. I lost my extended family. I lost all of my professional relationships that I had growing up in my life because I'm a competitor now in large part. And it's just like, I work for this person. So all the brotherhood and all the conversations that we're never going to leave one another, I watched it all fall off. And I sat there for a decade feeling so sorry for myself. I even complained to Mark Phillips at one point, and that's where it turned around because Mark Phillips went, I didn't think that you would complain. And I did. And at that moment in life, I realized there's a lot of people watching my situation and getting inspired by it. And this, if I'm a dealer or I'm a client, does you being in the black sheep of the family and not getting a lot of the positives financially or monetarily from the sale of your parents' company, wouldn't you, if you were a client or a prospective client, wouldn't you want to deal with the guy that's seen both sides, the best side of the company growth and then the worst side of it being taken away and still fights? I want to do business with that guy. So recognizing that your situation, even if it's the worst thing around you, it's the best thing that ever happened to you, and allow God to do his work and do your second income thing. It's really awesome.
100% agree. 100%. And that's the yin and the yang, the pro and the con, the good and the bad. To have both sides is good. And that's where I've talked about some of my failures in life, and it says, hey, I've learned from this. Do you want the guy that's learned from it and can come out of it, or do you want the guy that hasn't learned from it yet and we'll get there? So let's transition this into again, fear of failure and why somebody shouldn't launch. So Mark, our is a second income stream, is this tailored for teens and 20-year-olds? Is my opportunity lost because I've hit 30? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think you ever lose that opportunity. If you just turned 75, you've got 10 to 20 years left. You got at least 10 years left if you just turned 75. If you're 45, you got 30 to 40 years left. And in 5 to 10 years, you can change the trajectory of your family, period, for all of eternity. You can be the one person that changes your family's not history, but legacy. So I don't think there is too late. If you're a teenager and you know how to use one of these, you can make money. If you're 62 and you know how to use one of these, you can make money. If you know how to provide a service and talk to people, if you don't know how to use one of these, go to YouTube. It'll teach you how to do it.
It will.
So and keep in mind when you're looking for something, number one, it needs to be something that you enjoy doing because you're more likely to do it. But this is something I've said a few times in my life. everybody's favorite radio station, and a lot of you young people don't even know what a radio station is because everything's digitalized now. But I grew up listening to the radio, AM, FM, but everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM, which stands for What's in It for Me. And that's what your customers want to know what's in it from. They don't give a crap how kind of power washer you got. And if you don't have the $300 to buy a cheap one, you can rent one for $50 and go make you $500 today, right? So people care what's in it for them and how good you do. What is the old saying? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. We're all self-centered, more so today than ever. And so find a need and fill it, make people feel special, and they'll do business with you.
I agree. So I'll say, on the older, getting up in years thing, and again, we're Nick. I think you said you're 40. I'm 46. Mark is a few years our senior.
58. 58.
Boom. So we're not behind. In fact, we bring more experience and relationships to the table. So you can Google anything, you can learn it, you can YouTube it, but experience and wisdom and relationships go very, very deep. And then you do have some industry knowledge as well. So the advantage is wisdom and credibility. So you guys might know this. Do you know how old Colonel Sanders was when he started KFC?
Nobody was an old for.
65. 65 when he started KFC. And there's 100 examples. So you mentioned Gary Vee. Gary Vee will talk to 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. It's never too late. And again, with the monetization, with the affiliate marketing, with all the different avenues and ways to do this. An idea that I've heard was, coming up with a book idea. You can actually have somebody write a book for you. You publish it to Amazon and sell it for $5, $10 a copy. And again, $5, $10 a piece. If that turns into $500 a month in income, that's 500 a month in income. That's 6,000 a year that you didn't have before. That again could go into extra time. Could go into if your kid loves theater, it could go into a play ticket or a sporting event ticket, whatever the case is. It can be used for whatever you want. So over 40 does not eliminate that, or any age does not eliminate any kind of opportunity. As far as the income stream, it's what you create. You bring your expertise, your knowledge, and you can employ that. So the skill inventory exercise, this again is going to be for the audience. So it's an exercise. So write down every job you've had. So you should have your resume. It should be pretty easy to translate. Write down every job you've had, and then every skill you've learned from there, and really think about it. So Nick's talking about financial growth with car businesses or finance or whatever the case is. Think about every skill you've learned from every job you've had and every problem you've solved. Now we're getting deep here. There could be a lot, but think about some of the problems you've solved. Think about some of the major things that have come to you that nobody else could solve, or it was a group thought, and you've been part of solving a problem. So, to quote a great movie, Robots, it was an animated movie, but it says, find the need, fill a need. And that really is what it is. So in business, you just can't go. So the whole sell me this pen, right? That was a sales cliche for a long time. It's been one of the biggest BS things because you know the person wants a pen. You don't know anything about their needs, their desires, what they want a pen for. Again, if they didn't want a pen, you have to know some background. So you have to find a need. You have to find somebody who wants to write something down, who wants it to be permanent. So, Mark, tell me about the need for the pen. Cool. Tell me about your writing style. Tell me about how you want the ink to flow. It's about finding that need. It's about finding what they want, finding it and filling it. Cool. Based on what you've told me, Mark, this pen is the smoothest flowing ink. It'll adhere to any paper you want. It can even write upside down. It's been proven that it can write in water. They have all these things. So you find that need and you speak to that need. You're really not even selling at that point. You're solutions-based offering. And that's huge about going into it. So think about the problems you've solved and every accomplishment you're proud of. So with those, and again, you've written down the jobs you've had, the skills you've learned, the problems you've solved, and the accomplishments that you're proud of. And then with that, why are you sitting on a business and calling, or why are you sitting on a business and calling it experience? That doesn't make sense. That should be reworded. So why not create a business out of your experience? So all these things, it says that you are sitting on an idea for a business. Expand those into ideas to be relevant. Self-worth conversation. Entrepreneurship is not about money. What does entrepreneurship bring to you from a peace of mind, from a poise, from a I am King Kong standpoint?
I think you said it, self-worth. That's that extra bit of pride when you look in the mirror. When you create something, uh, it's just very powerful. It changes how you look at yourself, and you walk a little bit different. You talk a little bit different, which changes the perception the people around you have, whether it be a spouse, your family, your close circle of friends and influence. They think highly of you or more highly of you when you think more highly of you. And especially as men, there's nothing more powerful than creating something or earning something, right? Um, when somebody writes a review about your business, I mean, your pride swells up. You may have to open both doors to get in the house, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. That you mentioned the King Kong, you got to look in the mirror and be King Kong, Godzilla, whoever it is you want to be, you know. And creating that extra stream of income out of your experiences in life, which we all have that are marketable, will change how you see yourself and change how the world sees you.
100%. And when you walk with that strut, the world notices. Nick, what are your thoughts on that, sir?
I was thinking about Windshield Time with a gentleman named Steve Johnston who does Christian movies. One was up for an Oscar. I don't think they won, but he's doing another one that's like foreign Christian movies. Not like anything, it's foreign Christian movies. And he was an agent of my dad's at one point, and we were on our way to Grand Junction. And I didn't know that this was the life that I wanted, but he told me about his vision and why he worked so hard. And he's a platinum partner at the company and doing really well. And he said, my goal is to pay off my parents' house he was close to at that point, and take care of my mom and dad, and take care of my family. And he walked like it and he talked like it. And I really grew to respect him a lot, for a lot of different reasons. We had our differences too, but to this day, him and I talk, and our relationship has really grown, and great man. And I sat there wondering, how could I even do that? Everything is taken care of. My dad's really rich, and everybody is paid off anyway, in multiple ways. So I really took a look around and went, hey, how would I ever be able to accomplish something like this? And I really think that having influences in your life that can show you a type of life that you aspire to is the first step. And to having people in your life that give you a good example of what you want to be. Then it became me striving to get there. And that was the real battle, because my father was kind enough before bypass surgery to tell me what made him so effective in business. And he said, people do business with me because they like me. And your biggest challenge right now is going to be becoming somebody that people like, because right now, no one likes you. He couldn't have been more right. For all the love and differences between my dad and I, he hit the nail right on the head. And you know what? People can go around and complain about their mom and dad all they want. My mom and dad loved me enough to tell me my issues, and I really appreciate them for that. So there's too many parents out there patting their kids on the back saying you're going to Harvard. Well, they didn't get out of high school and stuff. Like, drop that, take a look in the mirror, and go to work. My influences in life are Pat Riley, Jimmy Hoffa. Pat Riley just put together one heck of a deal with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I really like Jay Leno. And these are all people, I don't know if you know this, but Jay Leno, when he was coming up in comedy, he used to go to celebrities' houses and stay in them, because in the 70s, he would know who wasn't in town and who was, and he would know who was selling their house and who wasn't. So he'd go stay in these houses because he couldn't afford rent. And this is what you got to do as an entrepreneur, okay? If your thing is comedy and you got to stay in a couple of houses and break some rules, pray and get through it. Because look, some of the time when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have to call the gas company and say, hey, I didn't pay that bill during the winter. Can we figure something out here? And that's the fear and humiliation that a lot of people are trying to avoid. But you know what? It's not. You know what that fear and humiliation wasn't worth for me anymore? It wasn't worth going to work for billion-dollar corporations where I'm making 50% of somebody's 50% who's much higher than me, And then 50% of that for some person who doesn't know what they're doing in their own field, their own division, their own territory to tell me what to do. And then I get 30% of that 50%. I'm out on that deal. And maybe that's the point that other people need to get to. I really believe that this entrepreneurship, nothing has brought me together more than taking this risk and sacrifice and taking the humility that comes with it. Because after you've mowed your acre yard with a push mower to save your girlfriend $60 again, um, you know, for whatever reason, when somebody comes down your non-HOA street, Go Farms in Illinois, and throws out their divorce on the side of the street, you're the first person getting up out of their house to go clean it up. So my point is the humiliation that I've experienced in this entrepreneurial journey, like when I had to tell truck dealers that I understand my disadvantage is the fact that I have a cat here at my home taking this meeting with you. But we all had to start from somewhere. And nobody knows that more than big business owners. They know that their grandfather, that somebody before them changed their family generationally. And new franchise car dealers can identify that better than anybody I've ever seen on earth. So I went to them to help me. And now I've got people like Mark Phillips who has identified it and put me on a platform to talk to the whole world. And I didn't even know that that was going to happen. That's how miraculous God is if you just follow his pursuit. So drop fear. It's not from God anyway. Be an entrepreneur if that's what you want to do.
Got it. So, Mark and Nick, I'm headed towards the wrap up here. I know it was scheduled for a little bit longer. So, do you guys have anything to add? Again, I kind of had my framework, but anything that you have on your mind that we haven't covered before I kind of head into the wrap up here?
Just do it. Get involved in something.
And
Start.
you that is the transition into my wrap up. So you nailed it. So here's a closing challenge, guys. So within 7 days, we're going to challenge you to do a couple things. So, and again, I'll put the couple things in the message with the YouTube. So list your skills. We already talked about this. List the jobs you've had, list the skills. So list your skills, circle your top three, and don't be humble. Brag about yourself. Brag to yourself about yourself. List your skills and circle your top three. Know what you're good at. Circle your top three, and then find one way to monetize one. Of those top three skills, find one way. Google it, chat GPT it, Claude it, Manus it. Find one way. Here's my skill. How can I monetize this? It will tell you. Again, we mentioned AI earlier, the automation piece. AI, it will tell you what you need. It's good prompts in, good prompts out. So the more specific you are in what you ask, the more specific it will be in what it gives you. So if you say, here's my skill set, I would like to monetize this. I do this as my 9 to 5. However, I'm looking for a sec. Again, feed it with that right prompt. It will tell you, it will give you the answer. So find one way to monetize one of those skills and take one action. The most important part, to Mark's point, don't spend none of your thinking, start moving. So Mark and I'll tell you a personal story. So Mark and I do have the YouTube channels now. We have a few different YouTube channels, and we talk about our views and all that, and it's great to get there. So we're trying to get this message out. So again, Forged Men is to be it's the forum for men. It's to eliminate some of the confusion in this day and age. It's to go back, get away from the role unclarity and uncertainty. What are we supposed to do? What is it okay to cry? All that stuff. It's to help men focus in this world where it's so much smoke and mirrors on what it is to be a man. So we're doing that. But we enjoy the comments and the likes. And again, our point is to get the word out there. It's not about the likes. It's not about the oh yeah, we got a like. But that means that we're getting our word out there and somebody has actually enjoyed the content. So we enjoy it in the holistic part of it, not the vain part of we got to like. It means that we've reached somebody. So Mark told me a while ago to start a YouTube channel. And I did. I posted one little video. Didn't do anything with it. So I'm gonna say this again. Don't spend another year thinking. Start moving. So I'm a car guy. I went to a car show on Father's Day. I posted a 47-second video. Within a day, got 1,200 views and 26 likes and 2 subscribers to my page. I had one video before. It was a 12-second nothing flyby of a car. So with this 47-second video, I got 2 subscribers, 1,200 views, 26 likes. And I sent it to Mark, knowing what was going to come. I was like, I know, But of course, I got back though. Imagine if you did it when I told you to. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Don't spend another year thinking, start moving. Guys, I told myself I wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough content. I wasn't relevant enough to do this. I posted a 47-second video that I thought nothing of, and it got 1,200 views and 26 likes. So there is a skill set somewhere within you. Again, follow the activities, list your skills, circle your top three, find one way to monetize, and take action. So I'll leave you with, as we typically do, be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you like the content, guys, we're going to keep giving you this feedback, whether it be entrepreneurship, ways to navigate this, ways to navigate that. It's all about manhood. It's all about brotherhood. It's all about forging through and keeping yourself on path, being the best man that you can for yourself, for others, for your family, at work, at play. Just help yourself be the best man. So like and subscribe, please, please, please. It is very important. You'll hear content or you'll get notifications of content when new videos come out. We do have, of course, our weekly Wednesday. We'll do special things like this on entrepreneurship to help you. Join the community. Share this episode. If this hit you and you know somebody that's it would reach, share the episode. Tell somebody to watch it. Share it with them. Build options, build freedom, build you, build the best man that you could be. Gentlemen, any parting words?
Have a great
Jump
week.
and the net will appear.
There
What's
you
that?
go. I love that.
Oh,
Say it again, Nick.
Said jump and the net will appear.
jump in the net will build it and he will come. Forge Ben, thank you. Nick, Mark, thank you for your time as always. Appreciate you gentlemen being on the panel and your insights. Forge Ben, thank you for watching. We look forward to connecting with you again soon.